Hello, everyone. Welcome to our volunteer information session. We are very happy to have you here. Cut. All right. Action. Take two. Hello, my name is Summer Clinkscale. I am an employee at the National Museum of African American History and Culture. I have been an employee of the Smithsonian for almost 8 years now as a visitor services coordinator, and as of now, I am a visitor services lead coordinator. Visitor information volunteers are required to work 3-hour shifts daily between 9:30 a.m. and 5:30 p.m. The duties consist of welcoming visitors to the National Museum of African American History and Culture, to respond to inquiries, comments, and feedback from diverse audiences clearly, courteously, and effectively. Provide information about the Smithsonian Institution, NMAC, and its exhibitions and daily program offerings, as well as surrounding attractions. The commitment is 6 hours per month, which equals 2 shifts. What we're looking for is someone with interpersonal skills and confidence with speaking to groups of all sizes, problem-solving abilities, enthusiasm for museum content, and discretion even with high-profile guests. We also have Angela and Ed here today to talk a little bit about their experience as visitor information volunteers. They have been with us for a long time and they are very well experienced. You can also contact us. Our email at NMAC Visitor Services is namacvisitorservices@si.edu.
All right, well, hello, everybody. My name is Amanda. I am a visitor services coordinator, and I've been with this museum for over 5 years now. And some of our requirements for the visitor information volunteers include that a background check is required. Also, you must be 18 years of age or older. And you must also fully complete the training program. And finally, all abilities are welcome, so please let us know if you'd like to request accommodations at any point during the process. All right, so everyone, so here's some volunteer benefits. First and foremost, you'll be a part of our NMAC community. Also, there's 20% discount all Smithsonian gift shops and the cafes. And you have enrichment opportunities, including field trips, tours, and talks. And finally, you have special access to museum passes.
Hi, I'm Elizabeth Herndon. I am the lead visitor services coordinator here at the National Museum of African American History and Culture. So I'm going to talk a little bit about what the training will be. So the training and onboarding for our new volunteer class will begin in January, and it will consist of training in January, February, and March. We will be doing virtual and in-person trainings. There will be a mix of those offered. We will offer all of our trainings on multiple times and multiple days. Volunteers will be required to attend all of the trainings. I am so pleased to introduce to you 2 of our wonderful volunteers who are going to tell you a little bit about what it's like to be a volunteer here at the museum and being part of our program. So I'll introduce Angela and Ed. Both of them are part of our Visitor Information Volunteer Program, which is the position that we are currently looking to recruit for. Thank you so much, Angela and Ed, for joining us.
Good afternoon. My name is Ed. I am a volunteer services member for almost 3 years now, and I enjoy myself immensely. I enjoy the eclectic, cosmopolitan group of visitors that we get to talk to at every opportunity. I also enjoy the fact that I am able to help some visitors who have relatives or items in the museum that came from their family and help them find those items in the museum wherever possible.
Hi, my name is Angela, and I've been a visitor information volunteer since the museum opened in 2018. And 2 days ago, we celebrated our 8th anniversary. For the 8 years that I have volunteered here, I've had so many opportunities to meet people from all over the world who come to this building looking for certain things or looking for an experience. And my joy is being able to welcome them to the museum and to make their first stop a pleasant one so that they want to share that experience with others as others come back to our museum.
One of the things that we always do is invite them to come back. Okay, our museum is a very involved museum, and it takes a while to go through it all. And we invite them to come back to see parts they didn't see and bring friends. Okay, it is truly a delightful experience to go through the museum. I go through as many times as I possibly can. I also enjoy some of the meaningful conversations that many of the visitors have questions that they have been asking themselves, and we get the opportunity to talk about them here.
One of the roles that we play is to make the entrance a positive one. So when people come into our museum, the first question they ask is, I want to see everything. Where do I start? And so we try to encourage them to start where they want to start. So we provide them information about what's in the museum. Generally, we have a map, and we'll go through that map and tell them what's in the building. Not everything, but we give them a synopsis of what's in the building. And then we ask them, where do you think you might want to start? And that will allow them to be able to go to the location that they most want to see first. Many, many, many people come in and they say, I heard that I should start. And then you're able to just tell them where that location is. For the visitor that comes in who knows where they want to go, they don't want to hear your whole spiel about everything in the building. So you have to be alert and conscious to be able to understand what that visitor is asking of you.
I find that I am fairly opinionated, and I guide them to the history galleries wherever possible. And in my opinion, anyone who comes to this building and doesn't see the history gallery has pretty much wasted their time. The reason the building was built was because of the history galleries. The upper floors are truly delightful and very explanatory, but the real mission is to tell the unvarnished truth of the history of America through the African American lens.
And our volunteers are very different. We have family groups. We have family reunion groups. In the spring, we have the myriad of cherry blossom visitors. We have school groups that come in, especially schools that are on class trips. And then, of course, you can't leave out the family reunions. So we service a lot of different people who come into the building. And so you have to be kind of cognizant of some of them are dressed alike. So you might engage them in that kind of conversation. A lot of them want to take pictures of their group. And I volunteer to go around and use someone's phone to take their picture so that the photographer is able to join the experience of being in that picture as well.
We get many opportunities to do picture taking, and I wear a button that says this is not my first rodeo, so that I can tell them that I am pretty much prepared to direct you on how the picture should look and help you out doing your thing. This museum gives such rewarding things for being able to help the people have a very nice experience.
Now, you've heard already that there are perks to this position. Well, one of the things that I like is when we get to go on special volunteer field trips. My favorite was when we went to the Harriet Tubman tour in Cambridge, Maryland. We learned so much about history. We even had the opportunity to go into the store where Harriet was hit with the anvil and to actually see and feel that kind of experience that she had. So volunteers have a myriad of opportunities outside of what we're there to do, but our most important job is serving you, serving the public. There may be things that you as a volunteer have no clue about, but you're not alone, because there are collection items in our computer that you can use to look up. We have a big green guidebook that's at the desk that you could use. But the most important thing that you have at your fingertips is the volunteer that's beside you, because that volunteer will know perhaps more than you know, or can give you some information to help guide. So don't ever feel that you're alone when you're at that desk as a volunteer.
It's a very rewarding experience to be able to help the visitors in whatever it is they are looking for or whatever it is they're interested in. Sometimes it's very challenging to get the information from them to allow you to help them, but through conversation, you can generally elicit sufficient information to be able to help them. Like Angela, many of the trips and the behind-the-scenes opportunities that we have are very educational for us to be able to help the visitors. Almost all of that information is usable when we are interacting with the visitors. Truly a delightful thing.
So get ready, get that application filled out, be ready for that interview, and we look forward to seeing you join the ranks of volunteers at the National Museum of African American History and Culture.
Please come.
Yes. Cut. Oh, you know, I could say about friendships.
Okay. What about friendship?
So could I add that?
Sure.
You know, when you work with someone, my volunteer day is generally on Fridays. And so we have a Friday crew that we have become very close to, have become close friends. We interact outside of the museum. We have a book club that we engage in. We go to lunch, we go to dinners, we've gone to plays. They know I'm a basketball fanatic, so they go to games with me. And so we have all kinds of relationships that we've built starting here, but that we also continue from day to day.
It is truly wonderful, the relationships that you build with the people you work with. You learn from them, they learn from you. It is a club. Come join.
All right, so to apply for this position, you can go to our website. There's also additional information available on our website about the role. I will also drop the link to this in the chat so that you can click the link directly. We are accepting applications through November 30th, 2024. And again, feel free to drop us any questions you have either in the chat or follow up with us later. The email is nmahcvisitorservices@si.edu. Thank you so much for joining us this evening. We really appreciate your time and attention, and we hope to see you soon. Hi, everybody. I am joining you live here in Washington, D.C. I am happy to take any of your questions if you want to drop them in the chat. I do see one person asked about the application information. I did drop the link to our website in the chat. I will certainly drop that in again in case it didn't go through. So that takes you to our volunteer page that has the link to where you can apply for this position and additional information about the volunteer role. Does anybody have any other questions or anything else I can answer for you while I'm here? I'll just give it another minute or so just in case there's any furious typing going on. I hope everybody is having a really lovely fall. Okay, so here's another question. When will the candidates be notified of interviews? So we will get back to you within 2 weeks of when you apply. We will let you know if you have been selected for an interview. I will emphasize that it is very important that you answer the question, what are your motivations for being a volunteer at the Smithsonian? That is where we get all the really important information about you. It does ask you if you would like to submit a resume. You are not required to submit a resume. It is helpful for us to look at. We have volunteers that come from all different types of backgrounds. So don't feel that if you are retired that that's going to hurt you, or that you have all kinds of backgrounds are most welcome. One person asked about parking. Very, very important. Parking is not available. I am very sorry. The Smithsonian does not provide parking. So if that is an issue for you, this may not be a role for you. There is the Reagan building nearby. That is a parking garage. And then there's, of course, street parking. But the Smithsonian, unfortunately, is not able to provide parking for volunteers. And I see another note that the application information is still not shown up. So give me 1 second and I will paste that again. If you have any other questions, feel free to drop those in. All right, did that go through? Any other questions? I'll also just say out loud where you can find, if you go to our website, nmaahc.si.edu, or you can Google the name of the museum, the National Museum of African American History and Culture, and then go to Connect Volunteer. You will find all of our application information. Yeah, I keep pasting it and it seems to not be appearing in the chat, so I will keep trying to put that in there. I am so sorry that that is not going through, but we will make sure that that gets in there. Again, go to our website, nmaahc.si.edu, and go to Connect Volunteer. 2 more questions are showing up here. What are the hours of the shifts? We have 3 shifts per day, and each shift is 3 hours long. The first shift of the day is from 9:30 to 12:30 p.m. The second shift of the day is from 12 p.m. to 3 p.m. And the last shift of the day is 2:30 p.m. to 5:30 p.m. You can work more than 1 shift if you like, and those shifts do overlap, and that is intentional. The training schedule hours, the training schedule is still being finalized. I'm not sure quite what you mean by the hours for the training schedule. It's going to be 5 different sessions offered on different times and days. I am trying to offer each session at least 3 different times, once on a weekday evening, once during the day in the week, and then once on a weekend. So hopefully one of those days for each session will work for you. Yes, when you volunteer, if you're selected for the program, we will post a schedule for you and you will be able to choose the day and time that you want. We post about 3 months worth of the schedule, and then from there you can select which shifts you would like to work. How are the assignments determined? So the role is the same for everybody, regardless of where you are stationed in the museum. The role is primarily going to be at our welcome desk. That's on the 1st floor in the Heritage Hall. Volunteers sometimes like to roam. Some volunteers don't like to be confined by a desk. They like to be able to kind of move around. So some volunteers like to circulate throughout the 1st floor of the Heritage Hall. And then another spot where it's very helpful to have somebody is on our 2nd floor at the top of the escalator on level 2. Sometimes people get upstairs and they're just a little bit confused. They actually want to be going downstairs, and it's very helpful to have somebody there to do greeting and wayfinding and helping with that. So those are kind of the different spots, but for the most part, everybody has the same assignment. It's going to be at the welcome desk. Your role will be the same regardless of whether you're at the desk or somewhere else. How soon after the interview will we know we have been selected? So I am working with a couple of different people to get this training schedule finalized. So once I have that training schedule, that's when I'm going to start notifying volunteers that they have been accepted. Again, the training and onboarding will begin in January. You will be notified well before we begin that in January. I am hoping later this month, or if not this month, in November. And thank you so much, Keith, for dropping that link in the chat to the volunteer website. How many volunteers will be selected? I am looking at a minimum of 53 and a maximum of about 65 for this new incoming class. We need quite a few people. We are gearing up for a lot of things that are going on in DC in 2025 and 2026. The museum's 10th anniversary will be next year, and we expect there's going to be lots of things going on with that as well. Any other questions? Thank you all again for coming and for giving us your attention for this. I love all these wonderful questions. All right, I'll just give us like 2 more minutes just in case there's anybody else who has questions. This will be archived. This will just be available at this link, so you can always come back and look at this. Or if you have friends or family or others who maybe wanted to learn more but missed this session, this will always be available at this link and on our website. Oh, great question. Somebody has asked, is the training in person or is it virtual? It is a combination of both. So in January, our trainings will be virtual. We will have 4 optional tours available. But everything else will be virtual in January. In February and March, those will be in person. You will need to come to the museum for those trainings in February and March. All right. Okay. And are there assignments for people with disabilities? What physical demands to volunteer? Those are really great questions. Thank you so much for asking those. So we have seating available at the welcome desk. So if anybody needs to sit, there are spots at the welcome desk where you can be seated, so you do not have to stand. You are not expected to lift things. If you want to be somebody who's moving around in the Heritage Hall or elsewhere, you can be, but we certainly have options for those who need to be seated at the desk. We have some people who need different types of chairs. We can definitely accommodate that. We don't have specific assignments for people with disabilities. We do welcome all abilities into our program. So whether you are somebody who is blind or low vision or somebody who's deaf or hard of hearing, we will work with you to make sure that you are able to volunteer, but we don't have any specifics difference. We're not going to put you in a different place or anything like that. I hope that answered your question. If you have any further specific questions, you can feel free to drop them in the chat or send me an email and I'd be happy to get back to you with more details. And I'll just read our email address out for anybody who might want it. It is NMAAHC, as in National Museum of African American History and Culture, visitor services at si.edu. Again, NMAAHC, visitor services at si.edu. So feel free to drop an email to us if you have any specific questions that either haven't answered in this chat. There's another one, our volunteers needed for special events. We actually have a separate volunteer corps for special events. I'm not recruiting for that volunteer corps at the moment. But in the future, if we were to need volunteers for that and you were already a visitor information volunteer, you would be welcome to apply. You would be welcome to apply for it. We have a variety of volunteer corps in the museum, and we do have an application process for all of those. So even if you are an existing volunteer, we do ask that you go through an interview process for those as well. So we may, in the next 2 years, be recruiting for that again, but right now, this is really the only role that we're currently looking for volunteers. All right, I'm going to give it 1 more minute. Okay, I think we've hopefully got all the questions for right now. Again, feel free to reach out anytime. We are happy to answer your questions. We have put the link in the chat to our website where you can apply. And also feel free to let us know if there's anything else we can do for you. And thank you so much for joining us. We hope to hear from you all very soon.